How you guys feel that Tusk Puck matchup is going to go quickly, Lizard?
I just have to say, I did not expect a Tusk mid lane. They must know something we don't. I expect a lot.
I mean, we could see it play out in Spirit's favor for that mid lane, but we're going to jump into game one. It's going to be Lyrical, Trent, and Gunnar.
Thank you so much, Nat. And Arlington, the crowd, you beautiful people down there, y'all ready for a grand finals? That is so good to see all of you wonderful people there. Now, in the corner of my ear during that last panel, I heard something come out, and Gunnar, you were just like, they're going to pick Pudge. Why do you like this Pudge? What's the Pudge pick about?
It's really good versus the Enigma. A lot of like percentage-based damage. That Flesh Heap's good in PL. I think the AoE damage, the control, it just kind of helps them out. They need to hear that runs in for them, and he kind of fits the whole budget.
And running in for the other side, though, we have the mid Tusk, something else, you know? You've kind of dabbled in a little bit. I haven't had a bit versus the KOTA, but what about in this game?
It's a little scary versus Puck, because one of the big things about mid Tusk is the snowball. And you can't snowball when you're coiled, which is a little scary for him, but the matchup is generally good. Tusk kind of dominates these matchups where he's able to trade using Shard on the creep wave. And Puck has, I think, like 0 armor level 1, so he'll be able to trade with the Puck very nicely. They probably made the choice because I think LGD's draft is all death ball. They're going to stay as a group of 5 heroes.
And punish the hook. The first one of the game. All right, Ame's already been practicing. Faith Beyond. He's going to draw that first blood as we get out to Auroran start here. Ame, look at that. LGD off to the races, getting that first blood.
Yeah, it feels like this draft really fell off the rails. You know, you go for this early Tiny right away with how the opener sort of worked out, and then that's supposed to make it so the teams aren't willing to go for this Puck, but then they see this Phantom Lancer, and of course one of the most complained about matchups that I ever see in pubs is, you know, getting pucked when you're playing PL, and they just whine because you just coil them the whole game and they're really sad. And then they're not able to throw this tiny mid, feeling like it's not going to have the right pacing for them right now. So I feel like Team Spirit have a lot of work to do in this early game.
The goal is Tusk, I think, is he's going to try to get Ags, and he's going to try to kick one hero out because they're going to have low damage to kill multiple heroes, but one hero they can probably kill. Chen's healing is more of a whole team. It's not one singular hero like Dazzle.
Oh my god.
The save.
He keeps catching him. Saving his buddy with one, killing with another, and Faith Beyond appreciating. Now Maposhka, you got to be careful. This guy hits pretty hard. But won't chase after Maposhka that much further. Picks up the bounty runes. And that indeed is going to be 2 apiece.
We are seeing a little lane swap. They're going to go aggro tri-lane on the side of Spirit. They're probably worried about the Pudge Enigma matchup. He can kill the Eidolons really easily. And even the Chen versus Enigma is a very hard matchup, taking them. So they're going to just try to put the PL versus this lane. But this lane is going to be pretty hard versus the Pudge.
And Mira actually making his way back up top as well, seeing the Viper and the Rubik there for poor collapse and saying, yeah, you guys are just going to be a duo down there instead.
Yeah, it's going to take a little while for him to make the move all the way up, but already Collapse playing on that Enigma. They're going to be a little bit of a tough time playing into both the Pudge and the Rubik. We talked about it in the drafting panel, but the other thing is just like if they can get off to a good start, maybe you can play with like a little bit more high tempo. We'll see if they do it. But the movement over, Mira scouts out the Xingqiu Rubik there, and need to be careful about any tossback plays.
This is going to hopefully, for Spirit, be a SR type of game. They scale very well, and LGD is all about these deathball right now. The Chen, this hero, we've seen it every game it's been played right now. It just goes mid at the 5-minute siege. It tries to take the tower. It gets this mech before 10 minutes, and you just group up. So much healing, so much team fight. And for Team Spirit, their team fight is there in the Enigma, but it's going to come out slower. Their damage numbers are a little lower. The PL is not the biggest carry right now to just go in with one item, especially versus all the damage that comes out from LGD.
Yeah, there's just so much AoE damage there. It feels like this PL's gonna need a lot to deal with the Rod, especially with being a safe lane Pudge. You know, we've seen Pudge in all 3 of the core roles, and it looks like a great game to go Vanguard and perhaps just right into the Aghanim's after that.
I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for a Hood on the PL. We've seen them go from time to time just to deal with all this magic damage. And the hero can't really buy a BKB just because it doesn't help your illusions.
Well, you need to make sure you're playing around those for sure. You saw a little bit of a battle going on, and we'll have another one here. Maposhka facing off against Y. Does keep on refreshing that Poison Touch. Has the Purge Creep available. Xingqiu, though, on the top lane. Mira able to find him for the punch and the kill, and Maposhka getting chased down that Purge out of mana. So they can't quite catch up to the Dazzle, but this is setting up for basically just a 1v1 in this bottom lane.
Yeah, the 1v1 is going to favor LGD side a little, but Yatoro's keeping up pretty well. And in terms of also lane pressure, on mid lane, it's also very scary for Spirit because the Tusk has pressure but no kill threat on the puck mid. He has 2 ways to get out of shards. He can dodge the snowball if he gets phase shift. And even the supports of Spirit are going to be the greatest at just locking down the puck, but on top.
Nice body blocks.
Mira moving on in, one more punch, gets it. The long arm Tiny, with the help from the Eidolons, runs at Faith Beyond and finds the kill on the Viper. So, couple quick kills there for Team Spirit after that first blood.
Yeah, the lane swap should favor the top lane for Team Spirit the most. I think their probably goal is that this PL isn't going to have the greatest game, but the Enigma is going to have a really good game. There's no BKB piercing disables outside of, I guess, Pudge, but hopefully he is the black hole target, so they can't really stop the black hole if he's in it.
Rubik's going to be the other big thing, but, you know, somebody else will take care of him. Get the PL at him or something. The Toronto-Tokyo Tusk matchup, like you were talking about, against the puck in the mid lane there, that'll be interesting to watch what those early rotations turn into.
It'll be interesting to see the item builds, because some of the item builds have been different. I know Thompson goes for more of like a Treads and a Halberd, Deso, kind of like a right-clicky build, versus like going for Blink Dagger and Ags, BKB, and playing off the Walrus kick. So he only has phase boots keyed up, so I'm not sure where it'll go, but I would assume probably a Blink, because he needs to help his team go in. The Tiny's just a support, so his Blink will be slow. The Enigma is going for probably a Vessel build, so he's also going to be more playing for damage rather than going in first.
Yeah, it comes down to like your teammates in this match and who you can actually play off of, and it feels like Mira especially really going to be relying on him in the early game so that he has a purpose as this Tiny.
And already 4 minutes Vanguard done for Ame. Like we talked about, left very alone in this lane and has been doing a great job. 30-4 right now versus the 12-2 for Yatoro.
I mean, you can just farm it up as Pudge, right? You can push out the wave with your rod, maybe get some hooks on some of the bigger creeps if you want to.
Whoa!
Unexpected.
There was going to be a phase shift. Thought there was going to be something. Nothing to say, just die. He's just done.
These are really big kills for the Tusk. Tusk is, he snowballs really hard if he has a good lane. He's going to max out his nukes and run around with these phase boots. So they're going to look for him to break up these lanes, especially the Viper.
Toss
if the
back.
Tusk runs tall.
Collapse. He's there. Right on top of him with all the Eidolons. Will it be enough damage, though? Slowly whittling down Faith Beyond. The stomp, it actually hits on the Eidolons, which means that they die on Collapse first. And then the turn as Mira going to get ran down. Toss, another couple punches, but they don't quite have the range.
Painful there, but nothing to say. I mean, just died now, rotates top, trying to get some help and can't even get there for the second kill. Man, that Centaur did so much work. Stopping those Eidolons that little bit to ensure that they would grab the kill first.
And also, as you can see, Yatoro has the Ring of Health in his inventory, so probably the Hood's going to come out for him soon. Toronto's walk to bot. I think this is probably the harder lane for him to kill. The Pudge is really tanky, and he has the Vanguard finish, so they're probably just going to let him live down there. And wait for the Enigma, I think. They're going to need his Black Hole to kick him out of this lane.
Ame, just always threatening, even before that level 6. It's so scary playing into this Pudge nowadays.
Back on top.
Chance for Collapse. They're getting some good pressure onto him. Mira throws out the Avalanche, and Eidolon's close to splitting. Tossed back under the tower, getting Collapse killed here, maybe? Can he dodge out, shoot through the trees? No. They get that kill, but the snowball and the chase down, Faith Beyond will die. So 2 for 1.
Okay, that is a level 7 Tusk though. You know, getting in there, a little bit of help. Meanwhile, Yatoro still bullied back in that bottom lane.
A little too far, but also the biggest thing about this Pudge is it's letting this Chen just jungle for free. So this mech is going to come really early for the side of LGD, and it's putting more pressure on them because of what it's enabling on the map.
And it feels like the more the Chen progresses in this tournament, the more people are putting more eyes on it. It feels like those mechs have been slowing down a little bit.
Level 6 there.
Got it.
And gets the far spawn on the Doppelganger to get a little bit of separation.
So it looks like Nothing to Say is actually rushing the Witchblade. He skipped boots entirely, he had almost half the treads finished, and now he's just about the chainmail. He's probably feeling bad about the death and the rotation that didn't really lead to much, so he's probably feeling like he needs this damage to kind of set up these plays.
Well, meanwhile, Toronto-Tokyo are going to get those phase boosts now, so perhaps an opportunity to roam around and find something here. I mean, why juggling very aggressively, moving in towards that early mid-tower, but Miposhka and Toronto-Tokyo nearby.
That pops the phase, going right away. Walrus punch, forced to jaunt out the shards. Catches right on the edge and just throwing all the abilities there onto Nothing to Say.
Yeah, trying to take some of that space away. So Y is just occupying the dire jungle there. Gonna run into Yatoro.
Finds him. Goes in for some damage. They hurl the boulder onto the illusion as they move in and Coil is out. They focus on the wrong PL illusion though.
Nice.
That was a really well played juke by Yadro, and now with Miposhka and Toronto Tokyo here, they might all be in trouble. Ame trying to find a target, stay onto it. Brought down somewhat low. They find a hook through the melee of all those creeps. So they lose the dazzle, but get away on the PL.
Meanwhile, the roll, though, to secure the hasten for himself on Toronto Tokyo. Now Xingqiu in trouble. Has to throw a toss back, but there's help.
Yeah. Toss, Walrus Punch, has a haster and still bottled. So this is going to be a strong moment for Team Spirit if they want to rotate.
The really nice thing right now for Spirit is this Tusk and this Dazzle have so much HP between the two, between the healing, between the Grave, that this Tusk is kind of able to just run in. The Chen doesn't provide much damage. This Rubik does not provide much damage, so he's kind of getting a free game to just enable himself to play in the enemy side of the map. And always just constantly go on, nothing to say.
Yeah, I like how he just whittles him down all the time to put that threat onto him.
Ooh, and if there was no Chen there, might have thought about it.
Up top. Big toss back on the Faith Beyond.
The Eidolons, they're burning them down bit by bit. Turns around with the Viper Strike, but Mira is dropping low. It is going to be enough to kill him off. So a 1-for-1 exchange, but this is the Tiny for the Viper. Kind of what you like to see if you're Team Spirit. They're finding good kills here, but still not a huge separation in terms of net worth. Ame's still top of the charts.
Yeah, he's farming up there with the Fairy strengthened as well.
Yeah, all this net worths right now are based off of this lane swap. Putting the PL in the off lane, because it's giving this Enigma a really nice game. This Viper, anytime he walks up, the Tiny just gets behind him. He has a great angle, but the PL is still very far behind. And this hero, we've seen it needs a lot of items, it needs a lot of time, and right now, a lot of heroes are just very fast. So it's a little scary when this hero starts to fall behind.
If they can manage to sort of carry that momentum through for the rest of this game, start taking down some of those objectives, definitely Team Spirit might be on the back foot there. And Phase Boot's done, queuing up the Aghanim Scepter immediately afterwards. We'll see where Ame wants to go to try and make use of that network he's built up. Snowball, on to nothing to say. Doesn't have a way out, has a coil though. Already used the punch, couple more punches, Orb in one, but it's not enough. They break the coil, and that's gonna be a big jump in there for the Grave, the turnaround. And now Ame's still trying to hunt, but they have the chase, the pendants, a deep stolen away. Can they do this? Needs to find the target, needs to get over to the creeps. He finds it. Oh, back over onto Y instead. Thinking about a turn with the TD punch. No, just is going to give up his life. And instead, they toss Y underneath the tower, have a couple more poison touch punches, tries to bring him down, avalanche, and it's a finish. So they get something out of nothing on Team Spirit, and yet Ame is still chasing, ready to hunt, ready to hook. Finds that kill onto Tiny to boot, and well, an avalanche stolen by Xingqiu. Could have set up for Miposhka, but they won't go for more.
You know, Ame's hitting that one right there, and that is a scary sight too, to give up the avalanche like that when they're looking to get even more aggressive onto your side of the map. Smoke up with that Rubik perhaps right after this and just keep this going.
It was starting to look a little scary because I was questioning how LGD would try to involve this Pudge. Going top is pretty awkward in the Enigma. He can always pull the lane back with denying a creep, and walking to the Tri-Camp is generally a death threat for yourself. So right now, they kind of bring the fight, LGD brings the fight to themselves. They kind of bait under the tower with nothing to say. They get the coil, and Ame just kind of jungling in the area, so he walks up.
Yeah, but you can see though, I mean, you kind of understand that probability aspect when you look at the net worth chart in terms of like, this Pudge is huge, but there is a pretty solid tri-core here from Team Spirit occupying the top of that chart.
Yeah, I guess the question is going to be how strong is that timing when LGD do decide to fight, and can they wait out longer? I mean, the timing's pushed back a little bit more. The Viper just finished the Hand of Midas, the item of the tournament, Golden Glove.
Match begins, gonna find why.
Bring him on in there, and a couple quick swipes is all it takes, and now Ame kind of left alone. They do a black hole nearby, as well as Yadro in the area, thinking about dropping this, threatening the black hole, but Toronto Tokyo, he just dies. Now, can they go for any more? Yadro very far in there. They think that this is the real PL, but it's not. He's instead chasing Xingqiu. They get a little bit baited there, but now he's so far deep, I don't know if this team can help him. And in fact, they throw out the avalanche. That breaks the TP. Yadro, he's so far back. Again, they're baiting it with the other illusion, but they find the real PL, and they're gonna chase down and kill him. The bait that did not work, but maybe they get something here, maybe not. Maybe Ame just kills them all. He's still staying alive for a very long time. The Chen heal, Hand of God, keeps him back. And that fight working out very well for LGD.
This Pudge is so strong. He's just walking at 3 heroes. Also, at the start of the fight, the control from Nothing to Say, he goes on the backline supports. He silences the Dazzle so no Grave comes out. That's why Toronto Tokyo died so early in the fight. He didn't have the healing, no save, nothing, and he gets so much.
Finds another. Mira, just get away from me. Tosses him out. Well, the hook counter keeps going up, even though he's not getting a kill every time.
That is quite the setback for Spirit, though, because they were taking that time to farm it up a little bit, and Yadro, he joins in because he knows that they really want to get involved right now because LGD has this game plan, and it looked like a situation where maybe he could try and help out, but despite all his ridiculous jukes and the attempt to look like a complete illusion under the tower there, not able to escape still. So this means he's going to go back to the jungle for a fairly long time again.
My worry is that I think Team Spirit was kind of happy, and they're kind of forcing the plays, it feels like, on the side of LGD. And I thought this was what LGD kind of needed to get back into this game. They don't really have the best tower pressure. They had no ways to kind of group their heroes in this top side of the map, and they always wanted this Pudge to be involved. And when you bring the fights to the Pudge, he can still keep farming, he can still keep jungling, and he just ends up being there. No extra movement at all.
Oh, that pressure is up top right now. Nothing to Say, just hitting the tower. Chen, Rubik following up here, and I'm sure Ame willing to join as well. Unfortunately, he's sitting at like no mana in the Radiant jungle right now as he farms towards that Aghanim Scepter.
Yeah, sort of just going to have to sit pretty with what being brought to him there. But like you said, pressure that's being mounted up on the top side. Was that also Eidolon stolen by XinQ, I think? But Toronto Tokyo moves in. There's double sentries down. They don't quite see him yet, but they will on the other side. Nothing to Say there. Coil onto 2. Danger, danger. They toss him out to break the coil, but it gets him out alive. That's what they needed. And down bottom.
But look at this. He was expecting that the TP had come.
This is not good. Gets the Phantom Rush away. Ame still with the chase, still with the hook. Needs to be careful. Does a little juke. And that gets him out such simple minds. All right, dude. You just got a hood. Hold on. Talk to me a little bit here.
It was a nice play for LGD to go top. They just finished the mech on the Chen, so that's probably their biggest timing right now. Viper's going for this Force Staff after the Midas. The Puck just got a Witchblade. Pudge is just waiting another, 2,000 gold for this Ag, so they're kind of trying to take their timings when they get them.
Still yet to see a black hole in this game from Team Spirit, but does have the Blink Dagger done as well as that Urn of Shadows.
There is a chance that maybe he can get a punish if they get a little bit too aggressive on the side of LGD, but it certainly is a lot of heroes you have to worry about, right? Several silences, even with the Blink Dagger being there, that Rubik being available as well, with the 8th lens already completed for XinQ and 3 points in the Arcane Supremacy. But Mira runs up very boldly in the mid lane.
Double avalanche, not something you always see. Trying to find a toss back, I can't get there. Grave, TP out, anything to break in? Yes, there is. Ame on point again, 3-0-3 on the carry Pudge, and the avalanche from the low ground. Tiny's pretty good when you just get
look at that.
skills and jumps through, brings down Maposhka.
He was going for that Grave, trying to help cover Toronto Tokyo just in case, and sniped right away there from Nothing to Say.
This is really nice. Ame is always in the right position. He's always showing up to the fights, and LGD always kind of finds the angles, especially in the back line. Nothing to Say is doing a great job at silencing the supports, coiling who he needs to coil, and just not letting Spirit get their spells off.
Yeah, and I think also just trying to keep Yadro out of this game as well. Like that play when they went top for the tier 1, and they didn't bring Ame. I feel like a lot of teams, the second the fight occurred, the Pudge would have TP'd and like tried to join up and everything, but he's trying to hold that bottom area and just zone out Yadro like we saw. Even if he didn't get the final kill, he's able to do that. It kept him farming on the bottom side of the map. They didn't end up really needing him up top, and now he's going to have that Aghanims finished.
The Fusel is finished for PL, so maybe there's a timing that Spirit will look for. The Vessel's also, I think, about to be finished on Enigma, so this is getting to the point where you kind of want to use your timings, try to go take a fight, but they will be walking to this death ball, and the Ags is finished now on the Pudge.
Yeah, and they're going for the BKB right away from Toronto Tokyo, so he's not going to have that mobility option in here, but perhaps that's just going to be Mira, right? I mean, he got the blink on the earlier end, so gonna be the first one in there and see if Toronto Tokyo can clean things up with the BKB.
So only 3 members of LGD in this side of the map collapse. Will spot that Ame is here. We'll see if the rest of them decide to head on in the team to take this fight or not. Poshka, Toronto Tokyo, they're all nearby. Doesn't really look like it. They're just gonna send the Chen creeps in first, and the shards, that reveals that everybody was in that spot.
If you went BKB on this Tusk, because right now they need someone to run in for them on the side of Spirit. The Tiny wants to be the one who blinks in. He doesn't want to be that gets spells cast on him. Enigma wants to get Black Hole. Dazzle obviously wants to get spells off. So they kind of just need a body in front. So he goes BKB so that he feels a little more confident to walk into the Puck, the Viper, the Pudge, and just get his spells off.
You mentioned it, the Spirit Vessel done there, and the scan going to not connect. So Team Spirit reset, retake over their jungle after they get bullied back by LGD, but they're smoking again.
There is going to be an imbalance here as well, because we have a healing on both sides in the sense that we got the Chen and then we have this Dazzle, but now with that Pudge Aghanims being out there, that does reduce every type of heal that you could basically imagine. So all of those can be knocked off here if they're in the vicinity of that. Some problems on those graves from Aposhka.
Toro's trying to bait the illusion, and nothing to say actually doesn't notice that his smoke doesn't pop.
Oh, went on it.
TP out.
Nicely played. Yeah, making use of that PL illusion down on the bottom lane, and they make that entire smoke gank fail. So Team Spirit dodge another engagement, as it is another Midas.
Yeah, it's a little bit late.
That is a hell of a build.
So Spirit wants to go to the late game.
Yeah.
They want to get the gold. They want to go 40-50 minutes, and that's all they're going to play. They're going to use their TPs as not to connect to the team to fight. It's more to be TP away from where the enemy is, so you get those extra gold, those extra camps, delay the game by a minute.
I love this. The Dire support's coming in and farming the Radiant Ancients.
Right.
You just need everything in a situation like this.
Get as much as you possibly can. Hey, I'm here for it, Late game Dota, it's all good, but Spirit, they've already got 3 games under their belt for today. We'll see if they got that stamina to keep it up throughout the entire best of 5. So far, a 3,000 gold lead for LGD. After that fight in the Radiant jungle, it's all kind of looked in their control.
It's like an arms race. Every time I click one of these cores, there's a new item coming out, right? The Blink Dagger on the Pudge, that BKB is complete from Toronto, Tokyo. Like, when do you actually get to the point that you want to fight here for LGD?
I think LGD is ready to fight at any point. They just kind of need to take a good fight on their terms versus the side of Spirit that they aren't really willing to fight, so they're just going to keep delaying the game over and over. So for their Spirit side, they're just kind of trying to push the lanes out, kind of play the map, versus LGD trying to close them in. And that's why you see them constantly smoke up. They're trying to find the fast.
No, he couldn't blink in time.
And only stolen toss, but this opens up Roach for him now.
That's where you're going right away.
So into the pit they go, and LGD at the very least should be able to claim this. I don't imagine that Spirit want to come and contest, but they're all spreading out to push each of these lanes as far as they can go. First Aegis, we'll watch and see what LGD can get as they get it.
It's not too big of a deal. If you want the game to go late, one Aegis doesn't matter. It's when the second, the third that really matter. And it's just really hard for Spirit to take a fight right now. Dazzle's having really big trouble playing versus Puck right now. Even the Pudge hook with Coil is a really nice combo. And so LGD's just kind of walk around the map as 3 or 4. Maybe the Puck will be alone in split push and just kind of try to close out the map.
Of course, these heroes not as effective as some of the other ones. When we think about Puck, this is what Puck does so well, trying to push out the lanes and not get caught. For the side of Team Spirit, they need to do these illusion plays that we've been seeing. They need to sort of, go in with an Avatos and then blink out, get the heck out of dodge.
I see the Dark Troll Summoner up top.
Oh yeah.
Eyes on the prize,
They're ready. Under pressure, can they get this tower down?
At this point, they might try to wait for the Enigma BKB just so he can get one good black hole off. Because it's really scary to play Enigma into these drafts where you mess up your black hole, you give it to the Rubik, now they have a Chen, they have a Rubik with a black hole, they have a Pudge, and they will walk high ground at that point. So he's kind of trying to use the black hole as more of a threat rather than an actual spell.
Oh, well. Team Spirit, they can get a little bit of a trade at the very least, some pressure on the tier 2. Can't even grab that tier 1 right now. And yeah, the march does continue. Almec can see if he can hit a nice hook here.
Looking for it. TP coming in. They have the Tusk back in a second. Ava looking for something more. Nothing to say. Right on top of him. Collapses nearby. The shards are out. Doesn't manage to wrap anybody in. But look at the damage just that couple of seconds did to the tier 3 tower.
I absolutely love Rubik versus Tiny. Like, now he just gets avalanche and runs away.
This is really nice. Team Spirit trying to bait LGD in. They still have the Tiny for the toss, so all of their fights are still going to be trying to bait LGD in to take these fights, these long fights. PL now has the shard. And once he gets the shard, it's kind of, you play for the really long fights. You want to get multiple rounds of your spells off. The Enigma wants to be able to kind of wait for them to waste their stuns or their heroes get out of position chasing and he gets a black hole. But LGD just backs off. They take their free win, the 60% damage, and just keep playing them out.
And you can see how hesitant they were too, like going up to the high ground, just popping the flesh heap right away, right? Like punching into that tower just in case.
Yeah, and once this BKB comes out for Pudge, he's going to be pretty hard to kill. The Enigma's percentage damage is good and bad. Its numbers can get so high that the flesh heap doesn't matter, but as of now, it's not really going to do much.
Yeah, it feels like you just can't solo people anymore, you know? You can't get that like full burst down, but you know, if you catch him at full HP, it often does still an incredible chunk of damage. Unfortunately, it is magical these days too, so a bit rough versus the Pudge.
Well, 22 minutes in and 2 tier 2 towers taken, along with a good chunk onto that tier 3 up top. Outpost also gone away, and Spirit haven't even managed to take that mid-tier 1 tower yet. They're delaying, and they've done this a lot throughout this tournament when they've fallen behind. But against LGD, it does feel like it's kind of a different story.
You can say see the way Ame just kind of walks through his own jungle, and he already hooks in the trees too. Yeah. Trying to find them, kick them out. He has no threat on him. He still has 2 minutes left on the Aegis, and even if he doesn't have the Aegis, it's really hard for Spirit to kill him without 5 heroes, and even then, with all the healing.
Right now, it's basically just Midnight Pulse that I'm worried about, and then the BKB comes out, and it's like, now what? You know?
Right.
Maybe they burn his mana, no flesh heap.
Yeah, maybe just ignore him.
But he does so much damage these days, it's really hard to just ignore the hero.
Yeah, hard to deal with. It's not just a Wraith King with a Radiance, you know? This Rot Aghanim Scepter is just a ridiculous amount, so if he can still stick on you, it does not feel good to just let him be.
I do like this pickup from Faith Beyond. He went for an Atos, and he's going to go into a Gleipnir, which is actually one of the better items versus PL. It doesn't let him doppel. It works on all the illusions. It even works on Invis. So it's just a nice kind of way to deal with this PL so that they don't always have to need to coil to lock it down.
Or even then you can also chain it after the coil as well, since you know he might have better initiations there from Nothing to Say. And what are your chances to save that as well, right? Again, you can't go for the snowball play out of the leash, but you can out of the Gleipnir.
Right. Yeah, you can pull somebody there at least if you are sort of a bit further back. So that could be the answer.
So another nice thing about the BKB on Tusk, it kind of allows him to not worry about the coil, so he can still walk in, snowball them, and as long as he himself isn't rooted, he'll be fine.
Yeah, then you're all good.
But again, the Aegis will be expiring in 30 seconds, but they're now up 8k gold. I think that was 5k gold they gained, about 1k per minute for the side of LGD during this Aegis. And that's kind of what you want. They don't care about ending this game. They're still in the lead.
Right. Now, it should be noted that a decent chunk of that gold is onto the supports. If you take a look, they're still building up on the PL. He's further behind the Pudge. But if Yatoro can get some more time to himself with the Sanjin Yashin and trying to get in towards that hard next, then things maybe start looking not as tragic as an 8k gold lead usually feels at this point. But still, it's pretty freaking rough. We'll see if LGD can keep that momentum going here, though.
Yeah, oftentimes, even when you're really far ahead, you can't stop all 5 heroes from farming. Generally, there'll be 1 hero. Sometimes they're even just the #1 on the network. But the biggest that you can see is the Puck and the Viper, the mid and the offlane. They're always the ones that show which team is really far ahead, just on the difference.
And about, what is that, 1,000, 2,000 gold separating them and the Tusk and the Enigma?
Yep. Now they're just closing out the map as well. They have the gem on Nothing to Say, so just hopping around, catching that vision, and
still feeling 50-50 right now. Interesting. Oh, that's both of them. That's a good 2 to get, and Ame with the BKB right on top. Something tells me this 50-50 might be changing very quickly as they lose the PL and the Tiny.
You know, PL can be a pretty slippery hero, but not so much versus the Coil in a situation like that. He just had no options at all.
Just a really nice read. He knew where they were in the trees. He got the vision of them with the orb, and it was just a really nice play. Very fast. They caught them before they were out. Which, that's kind of been the name of the game for Spirit. They force LGD to go to them. They never TP early. They always TP right before they get hit. And it's just kind of consistent. I know a lot of people talked about Yatoro at the last TI, where all of his TPs were 1 second before the stuns would land, right? It was right before these ganks, but LGD's even just a little bit faster right now.
Well, they had a lot of time to think about it, I'll tell you what, and they are now taking a little bit of revenge here as they go up for the tier 3 towers. No buyback, wouldn't want to use it anyways on the PL. 20 seconds before he's back up again.
Still have stolen avalanche.
The toss back.
That. He knew the blink was coming in.
But the Walrus Punch to interrupt the Hand of God, it's not enough. Maybe it's going to be enough for the turn here, though. They find Toronto Tokyo. Now they're in pretty far. The Shards catching them. They miss actually trying to pull Ame out of there with that Hurricane. It didn't work. And Collapse down on the low ground finds the Rubik. The Walrus push to kill the punch. Oh my goodness. Spirit did it again. The triple kill from Toronto Tokyo. Sets it up perfect.
Great play by Collapse. Sees the Rubik lurking in the back, has the Shard as well, so thought maybe there's some sort of a save coming out there, but just no hesitation, hops right in there and disables that potential turnaround.
A little unfortunate, they missed like the Hurricane, I believe it's called, on the Pudge, so he was stuck in the base, but it's again, they're forcing LGD to dive the base. They get the toss on the Viper, the Pudge blinks in to try to save the Viper, and as they keep diving forward and forward, they have to fight to the Midnight Pulse, the potential Black Hole.
Yeah, and there's the Hurricane that you just saw as well. Got the Satyr out, you know, and helps his bud.
Yeah, a little bit of a misclick when there's too many creeps around. Downside to Vector targeted. You can't do it on the portraits and all the melee. But down to 6K gold lead again. How much does that change the complexion of the game with Roche now respawning too?
That was an instant Roche. I think it was 3 seconds right after
that was very
had the chance. So thankfully LGD is probably still in command. They're going to feel a little bad, but they still have all the healing, the team fight. The puck didn't go down, so they can probably just go try to control this top jungle, take the outpost.
Do you think they're in a hurry to try and get there before the Black Hole's back?
In some sense, but at the same time, Team Spirit doesn't have the greatest Roche team. I think the Chen, even just the Chen and the Viper can do it for LGD, so they're not too scared. They're not worried that the Spirit will sneak Roche, but they just want to get control of the area. The biggest thing is this outpost for buybacks. So once they take this outpost, they kind of get to hold the area and play as slow as they want.
Oh, that is not the real one, but Vision up on the high ground, and I believe Team Spirit will recognize that as they head on in. A scan from the Dire reveals that now there's some people there. Now, if they know that it could have been an instant Roche spawn, yeah, they're sending in the illusions. I think they're going to know what's happening. They
saw Yatoro and Mira in the bottom lane as well. They showed on the way together, so I think they feel pretty confident here as LGD.
There's still 60 seconds on Black Hole, so they probably won't contest. And this is really nice because it's probably going to get the Shard for the Pudge, which will help them survive these dives in the base.
Yeah, especially those potential toss-back plays.
Oh, it can make such a big difference. Well, the early spawn ends up hugely helping LGD in that instance. And Team Spirit going to have to play some more of the dodge game for at least the duration of this Aegis.
So they're going to have Holy Locket, they're going to have the Mech, they're going to have the Hand of God, they're going to have this Puck jumping in to disrupt, Pudge with the saves, Rubik with the telekinesis saves as well. And Team Spirit just have to find that perfect symphony to get themselves another fight win, but it's going to be very tough this time.
Octarine Core as well on the Puck. I think that's when the games start getting really tough to play versus Hero.
Yeah, we saw that even just in the series yesterday.
Right.
For Aster.
But on the other side, Yatoro's almost with his heart, which will kind of let him actually... The heart is generally the item that lets the peel illusions not die instantly, so he's really close. It'll let him actually be more of a threat in the fights. And again, Dazzle needs all the bot he can get. He wants to be able to get his spells off, because the more spells he gets, the shorter cooldowns they are, the more spells you get, and it's kind of a snowball. But he hasn't had the opportunity to grave or heal kind of anyone. It's either he'll just die first, or they die too quickly for him.
Yeah. And starting to get a couple of those items that allow Team Spirit to play their draft the way that they want to. As, again, you take a look, it's been very much a couple of heroes that have done all of the damage. You saw there the damage that Yatoro is doing on the PL. Basically nothing, as it's just been hitting creeps constantly, trying to get to this state. And for a side of LGD, they immediately build back up their lead, and now trying to put some more pressure on the map.
So the question is, how do you go high ground in the situation where there is the Black Hole, there is the toss back? Sure, you have some saves and everything, but I mean, as we saw up top, if you get this big toss back in the middle of the base, do you think LGD just like fully commit and try and get the heal plays out from there and just need to have the confidence in the Aegis, or are they going to try and wait for some sort of a mistake outside on the map?
I think the scariest hero right now is Enigma. Yeah, anyone can get tossed in and they'll be fine, especially the Pudge. The Pudge wants to get tossed in.
Yeah, sure.
But if they're not able to control the Enigma, stop his Black Hole, stop his Blink, kind of not let him play the fight, that's when it gets tough. So if they get tossed in, they need to make sure that they get the Enigma. Otherwise, they might just have to try to hope for a hook. And if not, they just let him die.
Ooh, tried to catch nothing to say, but Puck, a hard hero to connect onto. Like you mentioned, that heart just now completed. Yeah. And Toronto Tokyo still trying to find a moment when they can catch somebody out there.
A nice read from Toronto Tokyo. He bought a Desolator this game, which is why he did so much damage in that last fight. Top racks.
Finds Mira again. Nowhere to toss to. Tries to get him away, but it's not going to happen. And Stolen Avalanche interrupts it that much more. And on the other side, they find Maposhka. Gem just picked up.
He doesn't even steal spells this game. He just steals Avalanche.
That's right.
It's just another spell for Rubik. He needs the Aghanim so that he can just try to steal something else.
Dude, it's crazy.
We might not see an Ags, but the nice thing about Ags, if he does get it, is the black hole. It kind of always gives you this opportunity to steal it. And even with the buffs now, once he's level 18, it's always a 4-second cooldown.
Yeah, it's actually ridiculous.
Which helps him a lot.
Uses Dismember, thought it was the real PL. It is definitely not. Midnight Pulse dropped down as Faith Beyond starts beating away at these racks. They have the illusions that are going to get sent out. Nice to burn through them, slowly whittling down Ame, but
need another one here.
Yeah, and there's the regen.
Stay healthy.
He's perfectly fine with that as they move on in and take the full racks. LGD, just cool as a cucumber.
Oh, nice toss back into the blink. Great exit strategy there from LGD.
Faith Beyond finally getting a BKB, so again, when he gets tossed, he's probably their target right now. He's the only one that I think is realistic for them to kill early in the fight. The Puck has a lot of HP, has a lot of heal. He's just the Puck. The Pudge still has Aegis, and he also has 3,000 HP with Flesh Sheet. So they're going to try to kill the Viper every fight. And as I was saying earlier, the Desolator is really nice because all the heroes on LGD didn't really have much armor, so it was allowing him to burst. That's why his punch, I think, killed Ame from like 40% health. But now Ame's picked up Shivas. He's going for an overwhelming blink, and they just keep getting tankier on the side of LGD.
Smoke on smoke now. And they've been waiting a long time for the perfect fight. Is this it? It doesn't look that great to start. Mira in trouble. They hook. They connect for that kill. And the Shadow Blade in Toronto Tokyo can't find the right target. Has to just TP out. In the midst of all of this madness, Pudge is dropping down pretty low there, but a 4-stab, keeping Yadro a little ways away. They want to wait for that Aegis to expire. Still 18 seconds. TP's out, looks for more. Do they decide to go in on this? It's too scary. They can't go for it. So in the end, it is just Mira that goes down.
This is a nice disengage. I got really worried. They had a sentry down. They caught Toronto Tokyo with the Shadow Blade that he just picked up. And he would just BKB TP'd out, and then, you know, PL is able to juke. And this Enigma, you can see how much both teams respect each other. The Enigma is always holding back, and at the same time, LGD, even Ame goes for like the blind hook up the high ground, just assuming where he's hiding. It's just really nicely played.
I got very close on that one, not quite able to grab it, so LGD keep their control of the map. That won't be the game-ending fight just yet.
You know, to me, what's interesting about this is it feels like in all the other games that Spirit play, they sort of wait back, they hold their position, and then they try and find that perfect moment when somebody makes mistakes. And I'm just not seeing LGD make mistakes. That really feels like it's the problem.
It certainly makes it a little bit more difficult, but we even saw it today versus Aster as well. The fights, there were about 3 different times where they just became standoffs. Where like each team recognized what the other one wanted, they were both there, and everyone just like backed away. And that just comes down to like having that great positioning and not wanting to go until you have the perfect vision situation here. And it's partially what Team Spirit are doing right now as they make their way through their own jungle, trying to get down these wards.
You can also see Force Staff picked up by both LGD supports, so they have kind of saved now for the toss. They have a counterplay. Even the Viper has one. So, and the Puck is mobility. So Pudge is kind of the only one who's unable to get himself out of a toss, but he's just a Pudge, and they want him to get into the fight.
He's the one sending himself in. When that smoke broke last time, he just jumped right in. Didn't even know that he'd landed right on top of Yadro.
And a refresher next. Everybody loves refreshers.
So tanky.
Yeah, 4,000 HP is pretty good there.
Double BKB, just a really nice item, and at the same time they're going to smoke the ward, and Yatoro's going for the Bloodthorn. He's trying to replace his hood to give him the magic resistance with the Mage Slayer.
Ready to blink in again. Finds them all. Hello everybody, I'm here. Come say hi to me. The leash, but the black hole turnaround. Is it going to be good enough? They all won't get to it. How do you get it all off? They try and bring him down. Is it going to be enough damage though? Ame down to about half HP, but Toronto Tokyo already dead. Maposhka caught, silence, killed. Mira dead also. And Collapse tries to back away. Yadro, the one that's left standing amongst these cores, they buy back on the rest.
He won't die.
Dismember's there. The Crane. Maposhka got the TP back in. I don't know if it's going to be enough though. He needs to try and get away. It's too much damage. Pudge stands tall. Ame, you're too scary.
it looks really good, but that's when his health is so high, the Midnight Pulse does percentage on your current health, so he just starts dying.
And that might just be it as they're running on into the base. No buybacks on any of these heroes for Team Spirit. Collapse, he's the only one left alive. LGD, they're going for the tier 4s, that's it, GG.
That was a fantastic Pudge pick at the end of the draft. The final fight, he did more damage than the entirety of Team Spirit put together, and they had no way to actually bring him down. So PSG LGD, a bit risky in the sense of the speed at which they had to play this game, but they executed, and this is what that draft can do.